Alright guys, today's video is basically gonna be me explaining the lovely, Seven Deadly Sins. The, animated anime series. So let's start. Okay, so basically it starts with, this, Holy Knight, I guess, backup crew. And he starts walking with this other dude that's like, hey, why don't you come here? I'll make you a Holy Knight apprentice. So they are walking, talking the entire time. And also they're talking about the Seven Deadly Sins while doing it. And mind you, this is 7 years ago. So they're walking, and they get to a pile of dead bodies. So then, by the time, they said they, or keep talking, it's like, oh my god. Then it skips the present day, basically. Not like this day, don't worry about, 2023, whatever. No, this time frame is, when medieval times were a thing. Just keep that in mind. We cut to a tavern, basically. And these bunch of people are sitting around, gawking around. And you basically see this boy, which they think he's a boy. Oh, I'm not a boy, y'all. I'm the tavern owner, is what this boy says. And they're like, oh my god, he's the tavern owner that young? And then he pulls food out, basically. And these people spit down, and it's like, oh, and the boy just goes, oh, I'm sorry. Our establishment is known for having really good booze, but the food, not good. So these people gang up on him, and then he sits there, and they realize, oh my god, this guy's packing a sword, oh my god. So then, what we now know as Hawk shows up. Ow, I think that ant just popped me. Ah. Sorry, So, a lovely little pig shows up, which we know is Hawk, because literally it says his name. Hawk is a he. Which I don't know how is he. Don't ask me. Anyway, this guy pops in to the tavern. He's sitting there like, oh my god, the Wandering Rust Knight's here. And they're having a fit. They're all having a fit, and it's like, oh my god. That's this old child tale. They're trying to tell him it's not real, basically. It's an old wise tale, basically. And they sit there telling him that. And then they're all sitting there, and all of a sudden this rust-like sound comes through the building. And then the door swings open. They're all like, oh my god. They all look around to see who the hell this is. And this Wandering Rust Knight, which you would think is male, but hold on, comes in saying, the 7 deadly sins. He just says it 7 deadly sins. So then, everybody gets the frick out of there, runs out of the building, and the Wandering Rust Knight comes in, and of course this young tavern owner, gets up, jumps over the freaking table, and I mean area where you're serving the bars at. He jumps over the thing. Hawk come in actually through the door, like you should. And they're like, now exactly who are you? Then the thing blacks out. The thing literally jolts over. You get a scene of Meliodas go, oh, that's a spoiler? Okay. But yeah, the guy's basically Meliodas, but hold on. The boy is Meliodas, but we'll get to that. young tavern owner and Hawk are like, oh my god, it's a girl in the next scene. And we don't know who she is yet. It's just a girl, so I'm going to refer to her as the girl. So basically, the Hawk's like, it's a girl. It has to be. Like, you can tell she's a girl. This dude goes, well, let's see. Being pervious, basically. Because the entire time this dude is pervious, basically going around and basically seeing how her body looks. And then he goes up to her chest and basically goes... She wakes up, like... She doesn't, like, remark that he's doing that. She's like, where am I? Like, she's like, hold on, where am I? How did I get here? And the dude's like, you came into my tavern, and you blacked out. But he basically, before says your heartbeat is perfectly fine. Not like you just groped the woman. Okay. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, of course, they're all sitting there, and she's basically walking around looking at different things, and he basically has food set for her. Y'all have already heard what the heck happened in the first scene, so you know he can't cook. So what the heck is he doing feeding her? Well, by the way, the girl has been traveling a long time. Like, during it goes present day thing, they show her the wandering rust night thingy, and they see it walking, like it's walking across the land. Beside the point, we're back to where we were. So she's sitting there, takes a bite, and he's like, disgusting, right? And Hawks is and they're both, the Hawks and him are both like, disgusting, right? And she's like, yeah. And then they're like, knew it, and then she starts crying. Which, by the way, this girl always cries. Like, if something happens, she's crying. By the way, it's a big part of the show. As I said, in the first few, episodes, she is a wild mess. And I mean it. That girl is power punched. She can and will kick your butt. The girl, I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but we'll get to it. So basically, the girl goes around and she's like... So the girl basically goes, but it's so good! And he's like, I've never seen someone like my food before. Like, the dude is literally flabbergasted for 20 minutes. So, they basically ask, what's going on? How'd you get here? What's your name? What we doing? And then there's a knock at the door. We heard the wandering nutsack is here. Rust Knight is in here. So, open up. By the way, these are holy knights that say this. And we pan to the holy knights, and it's like, oh no. So Meliodas has a plan. I'm going to call him Meliodas because that's who he is. We don't know yet, but it's Meliodas. And I'm going to tell you it's Meliodas. I have watched the whole episode. He devises a plan and goes, hey, what y'all want? And they're like, we heard the wandering rust knights in here. Like, oh my god. Bring them on out. And he's like, alright, you better come out. Guess who comes out? And it's not our girl. Whoever the frick this girl that came in is. I'm going to say that because it's exactly what happens. So the issue is, the pig comes out in the armor. And the holy knights are there like, what the hell? That's not it. And then Meliodas is in there like, you can deep fry them if you want. And Huck is sitting there like, dude, give me a break. And then we pan to the girl. Yay! And she dashes from the back of the building. The back of the tavern. I'm gonna give you 2 seconds to realize what happened. She books it to the woods. And of course, Meliodas jumps in action. And we get a whole chase scene where the pig basically knocks everyone down. And while he's chasing the guy named Meliini, I'm gonna call him Meliini, we're gonna do that. But Meliini, before we get a glimpse of her getting basically pulled upwards by something. I'll give you a minute to think of that. Basically, the hawk basically pushed him down the mountain and goes, not today, dude. So, now, we get to the part where he's, like, he basically goes and groups her again, like, like, eyes closed, and she's like, and then Hawk, we pan to Hawk, and it's like, feel free to punch him, if you will. Basically, the episode's full of funs. The funny thing is, this is where the episode ends, basically. Well, no, not yet. It doesn't end yet. I was getting y'all false hope. Yay! Anyway. So, then, we hobble over, and Meliodas gets knocked down the tree again with this girl, and it's like, what the fuck? And, of course, it's not the tree, just the tree. They get the whole surround of where they were. It's like, oh my god! Then we pan over this dude that is called Sir Twinkle. He's like, oh my god, like, he puts, like, 3 of them in the death report, 4 of them in the death report, and then there's, like, 3 other people there. So, 7 in the death report. And I'm sitting there like, dude, what the hell? So, Meliodas jumps up with Meliini and Elizabeth and Hawk, and he drops Meliini on the ground, by the way. And by the way, he's got his tattered, like, shirt showing. So, like, that means the dragon showing a bit. So he drops Meliini on the ground, puts Elizabeth down, puts Hawk down as well. And he says, when I say run, you run into the forest as fast as you can. Got me? And she's like, yeah, sure. So Mr. Twiddle was like, oh my god, how'd you survive that? Like, oh my god. Then he notices the girl's little pendant. That's gonna come into a little bit of foreplay. Because guess what? She's Princess Elizabeth III, Princess of Leonis. That surprises the 2 of them, and they're like, wait, you're a princess? Wouldn't this be something jealous? Okay. But, like, I'm gonna leave you guys in suspense for a little while, because that's basically the end of the episode, other than him being like, you got it! I'm Meliodas! But that's it for now, y'all. See y'all in the next part, I guess.